Wednesday afternoon, about 1:10 or thereabouts. It's Valentine's Day. I'm pulling up Google as we might be doing some Googling, depending on where the conversation takes us. That it's Valentine's Day, 14th of February, 2024. And if you're celebrating Valentine's Day, good. It's a holiday, sort of. I guess, is it really a holiday? It's a day. It's a day that's noted, and it's noted for the celebration of love. It's noted for a celebration of a particular kind of love, meaning romantic love. I'm not 100% sure how it got its start, or if it was originally meant, if St. Valentine himself was the patron saint of romantic love. It's a topic, the topic of love is always one of interest to me. So let's do our first Googling for the day. Reminds me of Hafiz, which I might be pronouncing wrong, who was the Sufi poet. Wrote some very beautiful poems along the lines of maybe less engrossed with his topic as Rumi. If you want to speak the master of love, then we got to talk about Rumi. I actually have this book in the other room. I could run and go get it, but I hate losing screen time. So the book is, the subject tonight is love. Now, the Sufis are, they know the way of love. They know that the way to God realization is through love. And you can do that through love between man and woman. You can do that between love. Sorry, my cat. Speaking of love, one of my cats is demanding attention. You can do that through the love of nature, the love of a disciple and his master or guru. I guess it doesn't matter. The subject is love. So whenever you read a Sufi poem, Rumi, Hafiz, any of them, you have to consider it as a metaphor for God, a metaphor for the love that we experience through our devotion of towards God. And that devotion can take the shape of romantic love, as long as we realize that all of it is trickle down, the great divine love, devotion, reality itself is trickle down into the romantic form. I know plenty of schools, sort of schools, religions, sects, they break things up, that there are certain categories of love. I'm not so sure that I agree with that myself, though. It just seems that love itself doesn't have categories, but we find it convenient to do so. And in that way, we lose track, we lose sight, and we put our smaller versions of love into effect, meaning it's based upon attraction and what we get out of it. It is more of a selfish ego boosting, and if you ever read the Course in Miracles, or if you ever studied through the Course, they talk of special relationships. And a special relationship is an ego-based relationship. It's what we get out of it. And when we cease to get what we desire out of it, then we put that relationship, we put that concept of love, because that's what it truly is a concept. We put it aside and we seek out another, and we say that we've fallen out of love, or we fell in love with someone else, and so we continue. But none of that is really love. That's just ego self-gratification. Special relationships, as they say in A Course in Miracles. And it leads us astray, and we just go on and on and on. No, I'm not saying that relationships shouldn't change or partnerships shouldn't change, but we shouldn't confuse the issue with love itself. And with that, in a little bit, we'll go to, well, let's do that now. We'll come back to Hafiz. Let's go over here. I did a live talk on Instagram yesterday, and we talked about this, and I read through this, and I'm going to read through it again. For some reason, this isn't particularly easy for me to read, not because of the subject. I think the language and the text, how it's set up, and I stumble over my words. This, I think, is one of the most beautiful passages in the Bible. This is St. Paul's letter to the Corinthians, and he speaks of love as the reality, as the fabric of life itself, of the universe itself, of God, that without love, we do not know God. Without God, we don't know love. The two are synonymous. And let's just read. I might paraphrase a bit, and I might skip over some parts to keep to the pertinent to the subject. That might be the only time I've ever used the word pertinent, by the way. I can't think of when and why I would ever use it before. So, St. Paul, letters to the Corinthians. If I speak in tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have faith that can move mountains but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardships that I may boast, but I do not have love, I gain nothing. Here's one of my favorite parts in the entire Bible. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no records of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. What a beautiful description of love, but you know what? We could take out the word love. Let's change it right now with God. God is patient, God is kind. He, she doesn't envy. He does not boast. He is not proud. He does not dishonor others. He is not self-seeking. He is not easily angered. He keeps no record of wrongs. God does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. He always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. God never fails. You lose nothing with that. It's just a seamless transition of one word for the other. We can do the same thing with nature, with reality. Reality is patient. Reality is kind. Reality does not envy, does not boast, it's not proud. Reality does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. Reality is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. It doesn't matter. We could do it the same with nature. I won't, but we get the point. That's love. He finishes with, and now these three remain, faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love. So whenever I read that, my mind goes to politics. It shouldn't, especially in conversation on YouTube or any kind of social media where anything can be taken out of context and anyone can control anyone for their bringing in their own opinion. So I'm not taking sides with this. But when you read, if you're a Christian and you read the Bible, you read St. Paul, particularly letters of the Corinthians, um, does your politics, your personal politics, who you vote for, the agenda that you vote for, the agenda that you want to be in action, does it reflect the love that St. Paul is talking about? If it doesn't, it should, if you're a Christian. If you seek to separate, now here, we're in America, separation of church and state. I'm not talking about church. By right, I'm not even talking about religion. I'm talking about spirit. I'm talking about reality. I'm talking about the love that we base our faith upon. If we claim to be anything and we don't practice these, and it's the same in yoga, it's the same in my practice in yoga. For decades, I practiced yoga and I considered myself a yogi, and yet I largely ignored the yamas and the niyamas, which are the ethical restraints and the personal observances. That's the very foundation of yoga. If you don't have those, then you're just stretching. You're performing yogic calisthenics. You're might be doing some other spiritual pursuits, but it's not truly yoga. It needs to be based upon the ethical restraints. I've covered this quite a bit, so we won't cover them again now. But so for me, I needed to backtrack. I needed to get back to the basics. I needed to practice the yamas and the niyamas, which truthfulness, non-harm. My diet, as soon as I started practicing, my diet began to change. I went from a loose vegetarian to a strict vegetarian to a vegan because my personal ethics, my heart, my spirit called for me to cause no harm. As little harm as possible. I know people throw in vegans harm plants or other stuff as well. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to do as little harm as possible. I seek to do that in my relationships with human, even on social media, even here when, I get trolled. I try to be kind. I try to cause no harm. I don't want to, of course you always defend yourself to a degree as needed. I don't often feel the need to defend myself. Somebody has something to say about me, how I look, how I talk, how I act, how I do whatever, criticize my burpees. What's there to defend? I don't care. Okay, that's not true. I might stand up for my burpees. But for the most part, I've been a writer my entire life, and you can't be a writer without taking criticism. Goes with the territory. You need to build up a very thick skin. I share my writing here. Sometimes people like it. Sometimes people don't like it. Sometimes it's sort of a friendly critique. Sometimes it's just outright being mean. I'm not mean because I seek to cause no harm. Little harm as possible. So I can defend myself without being a dick. I'll be honest though. Being a dick comes naturally to me. Being a smartass comes naturally to me. Defending myself in that way comes naturally. But I see no reason just because someone seeks to harm me that I need to act in kind. So I used to try not to. Now it just feels natural to not lash out, to not react, but to respond. And I think it was Wayne Dyer who said decades ago, given a choice, and you always have a choice, it's more important to be kind than it is to be right. You can walk away knowing that you're right, feeling that you're right, believing that, the other person was wrong. But if you're in a debate with anyone, political or otherwise, and if your sole purpose is to make the other person wrong, you're not going to walk away a winner, because you are going to leave a large portion of the population who supports someone else feeling angered, or feeling disillusioned, or feeling wronged, and that will sort of percolate, and it'll come out in another way. It's more important to understand, and it's more important to be kind. And we always have that response. And it's trainable. We can build empathy, we can build compassion. And a Harvard study that they termed the Mother Teresa effect, they trained people in empathy and compassion, and they did that by showing pictures of, regardless of religious affiliation, or even if you had one at all, showing pictures of Mother Teresa, of baby animals, of the Dalai Lama, other Gandhi, other historical figures, and sites that depict kindness and compassion and empathy, boost that within ourselves, and we become that way. So there's actually loving kindness meditations in Buddhism as well as yoga, and if I'm not mistaken, the loving kindness meditations got its start in yogic practices before Buddhism. I could be wrong, but remember, Buddha himself was a practicing yogi before he sat under the Buddha tree and declared that he was not going to move until he gained not just enlightenment and understanding, but liberation as well, which he did. So that was St. Paul. And again, that love should be reflected in our lives. And if it isn't, let's ask ourselves why not. And then let's put it in practice. And it is a practice until it isn't. And by that I mean that we practice and we practice and we practice. We make mistakes. We miss the mark. And eventually, we get better at it. Love is a muscle. We need to use it, or it atrophies. Atrophies? I don't know. If I keep saying something like that, it's just gonna get worse and worse, and make little sense. So that was St. Paul. We were talking about special relationships. From A Course in Miracles. And the special relationship, as defined by A Course in Miracles, is you have a special arrangement, an exclusive relationship with someone, and receive special treatment from them. They're a very special person, so that we can feel more special. As we can see, that's egocentric. It's all focused around the ego. It's all focused on, if this person is very special and they make me feel good, I must be very special. As it says here in Circle of Atonement, which is a course-related webpage, that the special relationship is the best lore in the ego's tackle box. It's considered a weapon. A special relationship is considered a weapon of the ego because it keeps us ego-based. That this is a special relationship, meaning all other relationships are of unequal value. This doesn't mean that we shouldn't have a partner. It doesn't mean that marriage or anything like that is wrong. It really doesn't even mean that having a special relationship is wrong. But that when we recognize it as love in the exclusive way, love at the exclusion of all others, then it's an ego view of love, and it's not the heart's view of love, which is two totally different things. The heart, as St. Paul said in letters to the Corinthians, doesn't distinguish. It does not judge. It isn't based on anything other than openness, acceptance itself. Our friend, it is what it is. Lewis is here. Good morning, Eric. How are you? I'm doing well. And it seems that you're doing pretty well too, as you got in your, wait a minute. Lewis says, and you called me Thomas in yesterday's video, Eric. Hey, I'm sorry about that. Definitely my mistake. And not one that's easily made. So I must have been out of it. I must have been, yesterday was a long live talk, almost an hour. So I must have been completely exhausted and somewhat delusional for that to happen. So what I was going to say, judging by the weighted Navy SEALs and the return of 5 pumps, you are back in the game. Lewis says it's all good. I figured it was, but I understand. I appreciate that. I was talking about Valentine's Day because it was a good reason, a good excuse to talk about love and the forms that it takes, or the forms it seems to take. Love itself doesn't take forms, but as anything, when the infinite is trickled down, it becomes a version of its true self. It's the same, I've talked before about the great void in quantum physics and the appearance of vibrational strings. If you accept string theory, and that the strings vibrate and particles come into existence, and that particles form atoms, and then atoms form molecules, molecules form cells, and then we have our form. So it's the infinite trickle down into existence. And we could say the same thing with love. We could say that that great void from which strings appear in quantum physics is love, and that everything is a vibrational quality of love itself coming down, and that we reflect that in the love that we have for others. Lewis says, I definitely feel so great to be back. Still not ready to go all out, but I got my goal, and thanks to you guys. Hey, you put the work in. You came back from a layoff, you came back from injury, and you trained smart. You didn't say, hey guys, I'm going to put it all out on the line and see what happens. You came out and you were honest, and you said, hey, look, I'm coming from a layoff, I've been injured. You guys might be starting from the same place. You might be starting from a lifetime of inactivity. But hey, we're starting together. One rep. Not to mention when you look at the videos when you started this year and how you stepped back to get into the plank position, and then you did your push-up, and then you started stepping back up, and then eventually you started jumping back up. You got to jump back in, then you started jumping back, and now you're back, flawless form. That's how to do it. It's a great example. It's a great example of life. If you want to be good in anything, just start. 2, don't expect to be great when you start, and don't worry about it. Just do it. We're going to stick with the theme of love, being that's what we were talking about, and being St. Valentine's Day. Love yourself through the entire process. Take the same love that you would give a child, an animal, someone less fortunate than you, and give it to yourself as you work through anything in life. Anything whatsoever. We're so impatient with ourselves. We're so judgmental from ourselves. We hold grievances against ourselves. And none of that has to be. And the only way through it is to love ourselves through it. Be our own best friend. Be our own supporter, our own advocate. We live in the age of advocacy. We advocate for those less fortunate, for those discriminated against, for all kinds of things. But we don't do it for ourselves, and we should. Lewis says, yes, one at a time. I don't know if it's because I'm 40 now, but it definitely felt harder, or maybe it was my injury. I'm going to say more injury than age-related. 40, I felt pretty good. I would not have been able to tell you the difference between being 40 and being 30, except actually at 40 I felt better. At 40 I had been sober for about 7 years, I think. My diet was different. I was training smarter. And doing more mobility work. My yoga practice had deepened. Life was just better. And it was reflected through my body as well. When you're happier, when you're less demanding of yourself, then your body reflects that and you perform better. Lewis says Valentine's Day is a pagan holiday. I talked about that. Well, I didn't talk about a pagan holiday, but I was wondering of its source. And Lewis says people flex this way, but for the wrong reason, I think. And I was discussing that quite a bit as well. Any celebration of love is a good celebration of love, but any celebration that makes it ego-based, hey, look what I did for you, then it's not based on real love. Especially if it's performed once a year. In the sense, as I was saying about, in A Course in Miracles, special relationships. And a special relationship isn't reflected on the other person. It's that everything we do is self-reflected. Everything we do is, hey, look at me. Look how much I love you. Appreciate me, because look what I did for you. Isn't this the greatest gift in the world that I got for you? I got it. I paid for it. I worked hard. I earned this. It's all about the I. It's all about the ego. As soon as the ego enters into the picture, we're not talking about love anymore. We could be talking about affection. We could be talking about sexual relationships. We could be talking about all kinds of stuff. But we're not talking about love. Now, having said that, none of that stuff is out of bounds of love. As St. Paul said, it's all love. Love is kind, all-inclusive, affectionate, non-judgmental. But when you do all those things with that sense of I, then you have stepped out of the bounds of the recognition of love. Not love itself, because love itself doesn't have any bounds. But it's no longer recognized as love. It can't be, because again, it's ego-based. And if you think in terms of ego, in any sense, psychological or spiritual, the ego has no, and neuroscience has shown this, the ego itself has no basis in reality. It really doesn't exist. It's just a thought. It's a figment. So how can love be based on ego? If love is reality, reality itself, the fabric of existence, that from which we originate from, then how can it have anything to do with an ego? Which is why in A Course in Miracles they say only love is real. Everything else is an illusion. Meaning everything else is ego-based. So, back to the practice of love and how we do it for ourselves. It's when you make that comeback, when you attempt to do something new, when anything along those lines, if you don't manage to offer yourself some kindness, some patience, some love, some understanding, you're setting yourself up for some type of fall eventually. Eventually. And we might not recognize the fall itself, but, you know, if any of your routine is ever based upon, let's see, want to make sure that I get the messages here. Lewis says, did you see the challenge Osiris posted for June, Eric? No, but is that the, he talked about the worldwide burpee. That's been in the works for a while, he had mentioned. So did he finally put something up about that? I will definitely check it out once we're done. Lewis says, I can't wait for it. I'm sure you will join in as well. Yes, that's one. That would be awesome. Definitely a way of bringing the whole community together, bridging any distances between us. And the burpee community itself has only grown deeper and wider, especially, it seems, just the past several months. Definitely within the last year for sure. So it will be interesting to see who we get to participate. We have lots of the old school people, some who are less visible than they were for whatever reason, and then we have the new guard popping up as well. And they get younger and younger and faster and stronger. Pretty soon the old guys like me will not be able to keep up. Not that I'm really trying to, honestly. I've stepped off the treadmill of keeping up with others quite some time ago. Not saying that there weren't some time in some ultra races when I saw the opportunity to beat someone that I didn't take it. If I saw someone who looked like they were in my age group, that I didn't take things up a notch maybe. If I was about to, what they say in race circles, if I was about to get chicked, that I might increase my pace just a bit without attempting to look like I was trying to do anything different, of course. And I've mentioned before, you know, certain things you just don't want to happen in a race. You don't want to get beaten by the juggler. You don't want to get beaten by the guy in the Elvis costume. Although to be honest, in a marathon, I've been beaten by both, because some of these guys are going for the record. We got the Jay Jordan here. Jay, I appreciate you stopping by. Always appreciate it when you stop by. The Jay Jordan is the hardest working man in the online fitness community. And his hard work isn't the hard work of just working out. It's the hard work of lifting everyone up. Lifting the entire... You don't walk away from the Jay Jordan video without feeling uplifted, inspired, that you can do something. What my channel is now, what it's grown to be, what I hope it continues to grow to be, is a reflection of a few people. The Jay Jordan and Reverend Terminator all inspired me. Destiny Forever Walks, PhD, not just inspired me to work harder on my channel. And one of the reasons why I've been able to grow my viewers is because I took it seriously. Before it was like, well, people will come or they won't come. I'll just see what happens. But you see someone like the Jay Jordan working hard, and again, not just to gain viewers, but to gain the right kind of viewers, to gain the viewers who are going to walk away and they're going to do something great themselves. They're going to see the Jay at work and say, I need to do something. I need to do something with my life. For me, the inspiration was I want my stuff to be more creative. I want a channel where people will come here and they'll feel better for being here. No matter if it's me doing burpees, or me talking to my friends like now, or doing my shorts. I started doing nature shorts because nature heals. You can't watch a bird in song. You can't watch a waterfall. You can't watch anything that is occurring in nature and not just feel better. A moment of bliss, a moment of you forget everything and you just smile. Someone can walk away from my channel smiling, then I'm doing something right. And if I'm doing something right, again, it's because on this channel, I was inspired primarily creatively by those three people. The Jay Jordan, Reverend Terminator, and Destiny. Let's see. So Jay Jordan says, thank you for the kind words. You're welcome, and they're well-deserved. 100%. And our friend Odom's Homestead is here, and he is back under the homestead. Yesterday he was here for the shorts. If you look at Odom's shorts and him working out, and you see the hashtag is for the Jay Jordan, because that's what I was saying. Odom is putting in the reps all the time now. Big reps, a variety of stuff. And he's doing awesome. And he was inspired by the content that the Jay Jordan put out. The challenge that he has for this month. So here's someone getting in better shape, more inspired. And it's a direct result of just someone in the online fitness community being themselves. Let's see. Odom says, yep, need to get my cardio up. Cardio is all important. Without cardio, you know, I think strength matters, but strength endurance has always been my main interest. To be strong, but to be strong repeatedly, over and over again. Jay Jordan says, I liked and shared you out. Thank you, I appreciate that. Lewis says, I didn't know that, Odom. I will check you out. Yeah, he's putting in some serious reps. Impressive work. And it's been Um, it's been the entire month of February now. That's the great thing about burpees is you're getting, especially the burpees that Lewis does in his style of burpees. You're, and I could say the same thing with Busy Dad, his approach. You're getting in your strength and your cardio all in one shot. Everything you need. I'd also say, with Iron Wolf as well. I don't follow him the way I did when I first started, but I need to because he's always got good, high quality work, and it's important to, even with burpees, is to keep growing and keep trying different approaches. I was doing a fairly strict Busy Dad plan style at least every day for well over a year. Before that, I was doing a lot of the Iron Wolf stuff, and now I'm just trying to find my the thing that's working best for me. And right now, it's with the nasal breathing. Odom said that 2 videos behind for the month. Hey, it's the 14th. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Odom, one of the breathing techniques I did at the end of my workout video today was directly with you in mind. It's a weird breath. It's called the bee's breath. And you're making a humming sound as you are lightly blocking your ears, your eyes, your nose. Your eyes are closed. You take a deep breath and you hum. You make this humming noise like a bee. It's called Brahmari breathing, which is Sanskrit meaning bee, so bee breath. And it is a perfect breath for lowering blood pressure, decreasing your heart rate, for fighting anxiety, panic attacks. It boosts the immune system. It naturally raises nitrous oxide, which makes it an extremely heart-healthy breathing technique. You can practice it 2-3 times a day for 10 breaths each. If I think about it, I'll go back in my video and do a key it up so that you can just click on the time. I forget what that's called. The thing that's going to hold me back on my channel is I know absolutely nothing of the technical stuff on how to do anything at all. So for me to be a success on YouTube, I'm going to have to rely entirely on my charm and my good looks, which means, man, the odds are stacked against me. Let's see. Odom says we'll have to look that up. It is what it is. Says I'll look for it and post it in my community page, Odom. Thanks. It is a really, really great breath. It's the breath work that I do before my second meditation of the day. It's a great recovery breath after you work out. But again, for lowering blood pressure, and you can actually, if you look up bee's breath, if you Google bee's breath and health benefits, there have been quite a few studies on how it works. Odom says, I don't know nothing either. Pick up things from YouTube video. I'm learning some more about shorts, little by little. I actually had one removed. I didn't realize that if you take a short from your main page, or if you make a short from your main page and it's a short, but then you delete the original video, that YouTube will actually pull the short, or so they said. So I had to redo it. Odom says, thank you, it is what it is. I tell you what, I always appreciate when you guys come here. It changes the entire nature of every talk. It becomes less of a talk, and it truly becomes a community interaction Just good people having a conversation, which for me, that's no small thing at all. Very much appreciated. So, all right, guys, with that, I'm going to have to shut things down for the day. I got a duck video to upload as a short. I think I mentioned before my fondness for ducks, because they just seem so, they seem so vulnerable. They seem like why would anybody mess with a duck? That type of thing, which is different than geese, because geese might be the assholes of the animal family. I don't mean that in a bad way, just that no one wants to mess with a goose, especially a goose that has just laid eggs, or because they mate for life and they're family orientated. The whole flock will come after you if you get near any of. That's the way it should be. So, love your family like a goose. That's what I'm saying. Odom says, and Odom will know, because this is his thing. Ducks are gardeners' best friends. They eat slugs. Didn't know that, actually. That's pretty awesome. And it is what it is. Says, it's up, Odom. Whenever you check that video out. Thanks. No, so I appreciate that. So, guys, if you're doing anything special for St. Valentine's Day, I'm not. But if you are, enjoy. You know, and again, anything that helps us celebrate love is a good thing, I think. So, all right. Once again, we're going to say goodbye, and you guys have a good day. See ya.